In the lead-up to the federal election, a fresh wave of donation data has been released, offering a fascinating look at where the money is flowing in Australian politics. This data, covering the last financial year, reveals who is bankrolling political campaigns and shaping the political landscape. While this data does not account for donations made since July of last year, it provides a crucial insight into who the biggest donors were leading up to the election. And at the top of the list, the major financial backers of Climate 200 and billionaire businessman Anthony Pratt. Let's dive into the numbers. According to the latest figures, Climate 200's backers were the most generous contributors in Australian politics over the last financial year. Some of the largest donations to this group came from Konos Investments, owned by Rob Konos, which contributed $1 million, and Marcus Katsaris, a climate and energy market trader, who also donated $1 million. On the Labor side, the single biggest donor was Anthony Pratt, chairman of Aussie, who, through Pratt Holdings, donated approximately $1 million, all of which went to the Labor Party. Meanwhile, Pound Conservation contributed $660,000, with around half going to the Greens and the rest directed towards Climate 200. On the Liberal Party's side, Meriton Properties, controlled by Harry Triguboff, was one of the most significant contributors, with all of its donations going directly to the Liberals. A notable absence from the list this time around is Clive Palmer. For years, Palmer was known for making some of the largest political donations in Australia, but this time, he was nowhere to be found. It's a clear sign that his political influence and financial backing may be waning. Now, let's look at the broader picture of political fundraising. When we examine the total amount raised by each major party and their state and territory branches, we find a fairly even split between the Labor and Liberal parties. The Greens, on the other hand, brought in around $20 million, while Climate 200 raised $5.9 million in total receipts over the financial year. A significant point of interest is how much money Climate 200 is funneling into independent MPs, particularly those elected in the 2022 wave of so-called teal independents. The biggest beneficiary? Kyla Tick, who received $432,000 in donations. Other high-profile independents also received substantial support, with Zoe Daniel collecting $144,000 and Monique Ryan securing $122,000. However, it's important to note that these independents are not solely reliant on Climate 200 funding. Many other smaller donors, who contribute amounts above the Electoral Commission's donation threshold, also provide substantial financial backing. One of the most closely watched contests in this election cycle is the seat of Kooyong, where Monique Ryan faces a challenge from the Liberals. So far, she has received the most individual donations, while Allegra Spender, another teal independent, has amassed $567,000 in total contributions. Beyond just the donations themselves, this latest data dump comes at a time when the Labor government is pushing for electoral reforms. Before the Christmas break, Labor attempted to reach a deal with the opposition to introduce changes aimed at reducing the amount of spending in federal elections and lowering the donation threshold, which would mean more financial contributions must be disclosed. However, negotiations did not reach a resolution, and discussions between the two sides are still ongoing. Labor's goal is to pass these reforms before the next election campaign kicks off. However, even if the legislation is successful, the changes will not take effect in time for this election. They would only be implemented for the one after that. As we approach the next federal election, donation transparency and political funding will remain hot topics. With millions of dollars pouring into campaigns from wealthy individuals and organizations, voters will be keeping a close eye on who is funding their representatives and what that might mean for the policies they support. That's all for now, but this is a developing story, and I'll continue to bring you updates as more details emerge. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth analysis on Australia's political landscape.